The content on this channel is for educational and informational purposes only. Nothing we say or do should be considered advice. No tax, legal, accounting, investment, or any other kind of advice. Anything you invest in is at your own risk. Do your own research and consult with professionals.
Well, all right, everybody, welcome back. Today we're going across the cosmos. We're traveling to a new area of the cosmos that we haven't even really approached before. This is Stargaze, and they're doing more than just being an NFT marketplace, where they're launching a name service. I'm very excited to talk to John and Shane here from the Stargaze team. But before we dive into that, I heard a rumor about you two, and I'm going to put you on the spot. I heard that you guys actually met each other through a TerraBites video. Is that true?
Yeah,
that is right.
Yeah,
yes.
Can you tell me how that happened?
Okay, I guess I'll start here. So I did a TerraBites video a while ago on how to create an NFT marketplace, and I was just kind of following the Zora example and kind of using Cosmwasm to build like a very, very simple marketplace. So I was in an initial team that came up with Cosmwasm, and it just kind of wanted to talk about it a bit more, and did this example video. And then John actually DM'd me on Twitter because he found some bugs in it, and that's how we kind of connected. And then I was like, oh wow, you're really good at like finding bugs in Cosmwasm code. Do you need a job? Pretty much.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad that TerraBites and our legacy continues to bring people together, or has in the past, and good to see that we're bringing some builders from across the Cosmos ecosystem together to build awesome new things. So we're here to talk, of course, about the Stargaze name service. But before we dive into that, can we just get like a maybe very high level view on what Stargaze is? I know it's an NFT marketplace. You guys have a Launchpad as well. Maybe just like the quick and dirty on what people can expect when they go to Stargaze and what they can do there.
Sure, yeah. So Stargaze is an app-specific chain. So you can kind of think of it like, it's like Osmosis, but instead of for DeFi, it's for NFTs and for consumer, right? So it started off with an NFT focus, but now it's kind of evolving more into kind of like a sector-specific chain. So it's becoming a little broader now. But initially, it was focused on NFTs. There weren't really NFTs in Cosmos outside of Terra, and Stargaze was one of the first chains to kind of like bring in NFTs to kind of like the wider, greater like IBC connected Cosmos. And it started off, actually, it goes back to early 2020 when we were kind of building a decentralized Twitter type thing. And when we were building that, we realized that like the native content type of a tweet is an NFT, and it didn't exist in Cosmos outside of Terra. So then we just kind of figured that we should just hyper focus on that and build the infrastructure around that first. So Stargaze kind of launched at the end of 2020, early 2021, and we were focused on building an NFT marketplace. And when we were building it, all the users were pretty much telling us, hey, and the creators were telling us that they need a place to launch. So then we realized that we had to build a Launchpad as well. So that's what we ended up building first. We did the Launchpad in March, and then we launched the marketplace in May.
Now, for the Launchpad, is it and I don't want to dive too much into this because I know this is about name service, but I'm just curious, for the Launchpad, is it basically like a no-code Launchpad for anybody that wants to launch an NFT collection, or do you have to have some amount of tech savviness in order to get in there?
So Stargaze started with a small set of light code tools, so Stargaze tools, and it's permissionless for creators to launch. So anyone can launch anything. And then there was this recent iteration called Stargaze Studio, which is more like a no-code platform. But then if you're a developer and you want to do something unique, you're able to launch custom collections and custom rules. So one thing that I would like to see that I haven't seen yet is something with like a Dutch auction minting solution, or something maybe like nouns. where there's a daily auction. I think those two things could be done on Stargaze pretty easily.
Just to add a little thing there, we could have launched with a no-code tool, but the reason we didn't do that is because from the creators we were talking to, we found out that the ones that had a developer and wanted to use kind of like more of the command line actually had better art than the ones that wanted to use the no-code tool. So that's
awesome.
why we figured we'll launch the no-code one a little later.
Yeah,
right.
It's like if you add a slight barrier to entry, then the people who really want to launch and engage with the community, they'll jump over that light barrier.
Right. Yeah. I think that's an interesting like discussion, I guess, that could be had is like what are necessarily the benefits of a no code? Like the easier you make it, right, the lower that barrier to entry. Maybe you stop filtering out some of the lower quality, cash grabby type things. And so it's good to know that, the people that put a lot of thought into the project and the economics of it and the art and everything from soup to nuts, they're able to go in and kind of make it more of a custom experience. But then there are those people that I think, they're true artists. Maybe they want to do like a small collection or something, and then they don't have the technical chops to kind of get into it. But we're not talking about that. We're here to talk about name service, which I'm very excited about. And this is going to be cross Cosmos. We're going to dive into that. Can you give me, I guess, the quick and dirty on the name service, and then tell me how, like, what makes this name service different? Because I know that there's been some attempts in the Cosmos before for name services. But what makes you guys, I guess, like a success compared to some of the attempts in the past?
The name service that we're launching, it's a little different from everything else that kind of came in the past. So we looked at ENS. We looked at pretty much every name service on every other chain, and kind of wanted to solve some of the common right. So a lot of name services basically let you squat on a name for like 10 or 20 years or so. And a lot of them have some kind of renewal pricing that is not market based, so just based on a number of characters. And some of them don't even have any kind of renewal feature to it. So we kind of wanted to design something that kind of like fits into Stargaze, because Stargaze has a built-in marketplace. It has NFT like minting services and stuff. So we wanted to build a name service that just kind of like fits in with that whole process, and is also designed well. So so names in Stargaze are NFTs, and Stargaze is an NFT chain. So it made a lot of sense for a name service to live on Stargaze. And names, when you buy a name, it immediately gets listed on the marketplace, and people can start bidding on it. And one thing that's kind of interesting about it, though, is that the renewal price after 1 year is based on the highest bid. So it's 0.5% of the highest bid. So there's market-based pricing, supply and demand, and I think all of these will kind of combine together to make a pretty unique kind of name experience.
Yeah, I was going to add that to make a good name service, you need to tie into a marketplace, and you need to have a minter, like a launchpad, and a community. And I feel like over the past year or 2 years, we've basically built out these components, and then with names, Stargaze names, we've strung them together, like all of our past experiences, into making a nice, friendly consumer experience. And we'll be able to integrate it throughout all of Stargaze, and then additionally integrate with other wallets, dApps, blockchain explorers across Cosmos. And the way that it's constructed very flexibly, we can potentially expand to like Solana and Ethereum too.
Yeah, it does seem like instead of just being like a third party that's trying to launch something kind of in a vacuum, you guys are pretty well positioned to do something like this. The market mechanism that you mentioned, Shane, is interesting to me. So let me try and repeat it and see if I got it right here. So, is the second I buy or mint a name, that name and then goes up for auction, and in order to renew it, I have to pay 0.05, so 5 bips essentially on the highest bid. Is that correct?
Right. That's correct.
Interesting. So then it seems like what you're going for there is like, if I buy a name and maybe there's not much interest in it, it's whatever. I'll just renew it at a very cheap price. No skin off my back. But if I buy a name and somebody's really interested in it and there's a very high bid, I can either accept that bid, or when it comes time to renew, I need to consider how much sentimental value that has, right? Because it's 5 bips to renew, but it could be, potentially thousands of dollars to take that highest bid. Is that kind of the way you guys thought of it?
Right, exactly. And also, there's also like opportunity costs for bidding, right? So if you really want a name, you put in a super high bid, your bid is pretty much escrowed by the contract. So no one's going to really do a really high bid unless they really want the name.
Right, because you're losing out on staking rewards.
Right. And so if I put in a high bid for a name, can the owner of that of the name, can they accept the bid immediately, or it has to happen at the end of the period, like at the end of 1 year?
It can be
they can accept the bid immediately.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. So I want to talk a little bit about how this is going to be, because you're starting it on Stargaze, which we've explained is a pretty good place to do it. Obviously, you guys have the infrastructure in place for it, but this is eventually going to be cross Cosmos. What's the game plan there? What's the rollout strategy? Are you talking to different chains? Are you going to form like a committee or something between them? How do you plan on rolling this out so that everyone in the Cosmos can enjoy a name service?
What we want to do is kind of form a DAO to manage the name service, especially like the IBC side of things, right? So we kind of don't want to force this upon the ecosystem, right? There might be some chains that have their own name service. There might be some chains that don't want to use it, and also there's some chains that may not use the same coin type, right? The Cosmos 118 coin type, like back in the day, like Terra used a different one, right? I think the newer ones are more compatible. But what we want to do is within a year kind of form a DAO, and it's going to be an NFT DAO because that's another thing that Stargaze is launching. And then they can have some say in kind of like the future direction of the name service. But it's pretty much kind of going to be incubated by Stargaze and the core team. And we're kind of going to be working on kind of the early development of it. So that's kind of how we kind of see it working. So if any other chain wants to opt out or anything like that, they can become a member of the DAO and say they want to opt out of it. And then we can take it out of like the IBC calls and stuff like that.
And the other side of that, if any wallets want to get integrated into Stargaze or blockchain explorers or dApps, then hit us up and we'll try to make it work.
Excellent. So let's talk a little bit more then about the details of this mint. I'm curious what's the price look like? What kind of names are available? Is everything going to be .stars? What are the details, I guess, of that? Like what different names can I get? Because I'm thinking in my head already of a couple that I want to go after here.
Yeah. So initially we're going to start with alphanumeric, and dashes. So it's supposed to be like any domain names, and you can't just have like dashes in the front or the back. So it'll be like a domain name compliant. And for the pricing, so right now it's we're going through several waves of whitelists, and the whitelists are for those people in the Stargaze community who have been contributors or participants. So people who have staked, people who have contributed code, validators, creators, people who have launched collections, those types. And for anyone on these different whitelists, it's 50% off. And the initial price, we're not really sure if we got it right, but we're trying to make it cheap for anyone. So it'll be like a couple bucks for a longer name, 5 characters or more. And then, so it'll be 100 stars for 5 characters or more. And then for 4 characters, it'll be 1,000 stars. And then 3 characters, it'll be 10,000 stars. And for whitelist, it's 50% off.
Gotcha. And there's going to be a limit to the whitelist, I assume. So nobody's going to, hopefully nobody's going to take Pantera before the public sale opens up. When can I expect to actually be able to mint if I'm not an insider, like all these people you're talking about?
So we're planning the public mint sale time to be December 27th.
Excellent. And just, I guess another thing I wanted to talk about here, I'd seen on a previous interview, actually, Shane, you had mentioned that there was a Twitter verification for the Stargaze name service. Can you dive into that a little bit more and tell us more about that?
Sure. But first of all, I want to say, like, maybe we should have a whitelist for metal bands, so then you can get in first and get Pantera.
That's right.
Yeah.
I can snag all the metal bands and then like corner the market there, so that whenever whenever death metal chain comes to Cosmos in 5 years, I can just sell it all off.
Right. So the Twitter verification stuff, I think there's several reasons to do this. One of the requests we have right now from users is that they want to know if creators are verified. They want to know if they're doxed or whatever, right? So if they connect their Twitter identity, that's kind of a good way to kind of see that. But the thing is, if it's not verified, anyone can just claim that they're Pantera, whatever, even though they're not, right? So we need a way to kind of to verify that name on chain. So the way it's going to work is that we built this Twitter oracle, right? So you pretty much just tweet out saying, "Hey, I am Pantera on Stargaze," and then this Twitter verification oracle is going to check that, and then it's going to submit that to the chain. So then we can connect your Twitter identity with your on-chain identity. And this also really helps with marketing too, right? So people are going to see it on Twitter. Everyone's going to be creating their name and associating with their Twitter profile, and hopefully it'll generate some more volume coming into the name service. And we wanted to make it an optional thing, though, right? You don't have to do it if you don't want to do it.
And this was built like 2 years ago initially. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I said. Ahead, I said earlier, we started off as this kind of like social kind of protocol, and we started, building a bot to do this back then. So we're kind of bringing it back to life now.
Yeah, that's interesting to see kind of how. I just had a conversation with someone the other day. They were talking about how the life cycle of companies and how sometimes you're like, prodding different markets before you find your true product market fit. And then, in this industry with Web3, just how insanely volatile it is at all times. It's either up only or down only. So it's good to see teams like Stargaze that have been around for a couple years, and the Cosmos ecosystem, as it was lesser known but now starting to gain a lot of traction. I think you guys are well fit, and I'm excited to see this become really like a staple for everybody that wants to have a human readable name. No more look like just naming the last 5 digits of an account or whatever ridiculous thing you have to do. It's really cool. So before we wrap up here, guys, is there anything else you want to share, Shane or John? Any more information that people need to know so that they can go and grab themselves one of these names?
Well, I guess this is not fully related, but this is like alpha. So we are integrated with a couple wallets and some of the protocols. So Handshake protocol we're integrated with, and Leap Wallet we're also integrated with. So this later this week we'll be integrated with Leap Wallet for names. So it'll be like a nice little thing. You can start using it right away. And Handshake protocol, for those who don't know, they do DNS records, so you can directly tie like Pantera directly to your website, and as well as Twitter and so forth.
That's awesome. Nice little nugget there of Easter egg. And Leap Wallet has a great user experience, so this just makes it all the much better. Shane, any closing thoughts here? Sorry,
yeah, I just want to
I
say
know we're
that,
on a delay. So.
Yeah, it's just terrible Wi-Fi here. Just wanted to say that so we're planning on doing the public mint on the 27th of December, and until then, it's going to be this waves of whitelist. If you are a community member of Stargaze, go and check out the site in the next several days. There'll be a names tab at the top, and you can go and check if you're on the whitelist or not.
Fantastic. And the URL for people to see that one more time, John?
Stargaze.zone.
Or Shane. Guys, I appreciate it so much for you coming on the show, answering these tough questions that I've given you. Very much looking forward to the Stargaze name service. We fought through some bad Wi-Fi, some delays, but I think we did pretty well on this one. So Shane and John from Stargaze, looking forward to it. Thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it.